And this kind of goes hand in hand with the conference, the Toolbox Conference in February 24th, Friday, all-day conference on doing O1 visa. Maybe you could add the O1 to your toolbox to have additional way of additional case type that you could handle, and you could make up for any issues that come about because of the way the economy is going by bringing in new types of cases that you may not have gone in the past. So RSVP time for getting the lower price. I haven't put it to public, but email me before the 15th so you can get the lower price. But email me. It's going to be a couple $100 less if you get it soon. So info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com, and I'll send you a video about this. But essentially, we have the top O1 people in LA are going to be teaching the course, so it's going to be really cool. We're going to have a dinner and lunch together and stuff like that. And depending on how many people come, we're going to have like multiple dinners and brunches and stuff like that to really develop the community. So it's going to be a really educational event, but just as important, the networking aspect is going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. So come check that out and expand your practice and expand your toolbox. The next magazine, I'm doing the final touches, a lot of great information. Honestly, because I don't do removal and stuff like that, it's gonna be less stuff related to your removal. I was trying to keep it in there, but like I don't do it, so I can't. It's just that the circles I turn, as you see, if the topics I talk about really go to USCIS and CBP/MVC or DOS kind of stuff. But it's gonna be a lot of good content in the upcoming one. Check out the old one at immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com for that previous magazine, and it's a lot of fun. If you are really skilled and know a certain area of law, feel free to email me and pitch an article. So we're always happy to promote immigration lawyers. This is the whole goal of the toolbox. One is the education aspect of you becoming a better immigration lawyer, but also to promote people who don't have the opportunity necessarily to go on certain conferences or publish and stuff like that. We want to expand the ability for a more diverse cast of people that don't have the opportunity to be able to get their name out and do the marketing needed to show how skilled they are. So do that. I want to thank our main sponsor, DocuWise.com. It's always been so helpful sponsoring the podcast and the magazine. DocuWise.com, your all-in-one forms and management solution. If you want additional 10% off their annual plan, go to DocuWise.com/immigration-lawyers-podcast and use the code Immigration Lawyers Podcast. And kind of saying that out loud, I'm rebranding the podcast to say, call it the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Podcast, because then we have the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Magazine, the Immigration Toolbox. So the Toolbox will be the main name, and then podcast, magazine, conference at the end of it. So that's gonna be a cool thing we're gonna do there. So I have to redo like the image and stuff like that. Just call it the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Podcast. So it's a lot of different words, a lot of keywords in there. But I also want to thank our new sponsor, ImmigrationEvaluationDirectory.com. We'll talk about them a little bit later in the show. But now that we're getting into waivers, especially if you do eventually get into asylum too, but this is going to be a key resource because a lot of times waivers, we need a medical evaluation to show the qualifying relative and the harm that psychologically happens to them. And finding a skilled evaluator, a psychologist who's done this, who knows what's going on and what to ask and what the whole point of this is going to be really helpful. And that's why I have this website directory of lawyers that are familiar with this. It's not like unheard of for them. They don't come out there blind. Is great. If you go to immigrationevaluationdirectory.com, real great resource. And the person running it knows immigration really well herself. We'll have her on the show hopefully soon. But it's a great resource. We'll talk about it a little bit later in the show. But having said that, fellow toolboxers, let's get it started.